nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
What's up, Madridistas, and welcome to the Managing Madrid podcast. We got a very, very special episode for you guys today. I'm your host, Kiyan Sobani. In a moment, I'm going to be joined by the villain himself, your arch nemesis, the guy who's going to stir the pot, create some controversy. I'm actually really, really excited for this. First, I want to give a shout out to our patron, Daniel Smith. As you guys know, he and his wife have designed some amazing Real Madrid swag. If you guys can see the camera right now, this is Cristiano Ronaldo, number 9 version, when he was an absolute freak of nature playing as a number 9. Moji-mates.com. That's where you want to go. And Daniel has cooked up a really good discount code. It's called MM15OFF. If you can refer to the screen really quick, I want to show you guys something. So if you go to moji-mates.com, you can see all this cool swag. Ronaldo Nazario, Brazil, Cristiano Ronaldo, Noodle Hair, Zinedine Zidane, France. You got Alfredo Di Stefano stickers. You got stuff for your kids, stuff for yourself, shorts, swag. It's all over at moji-mates.com and use code MM15OFF for 15% off. All right. We are going to put every single Real Madrid player in a tier list. And I'm very excited. Drum roll. To bring in Will, Mr. Factuous. What's up, Will?
What's up, man? First of all, I want to thank all the love I've received in our first podcast with you. And when I say all the love, I mean that one comment from that one dude. Thank you very much. And let's go, man. I'm ready for this, bro. I'm ready.
This is awesome. Okay, so why don't I'm going to put up a graphic on the screen, but I'm wondering if you can kind of introduce the segment, what we're doing here.
Of course. So basically what we're doing is we're putting literally the entire Real Madrid squad in a tier list. And we have divided it in 3 tiers. Keep, sell, loan. We're going to put players that we want to keep in the squad, and we're going to put them in keep. The players that we want to sell and sell. And some players that we want to loan and loan. We should have had a 4th tier list that says just rip the contract. We don't have that one. I tried, guys. I'm sorry. I guess Kian wants to keep the things, more in line with the pot, but we'll get there. So we have 3 tiers. I already see some faces, man, that I want to sell. I already see some faces that I want to loan. I definitely see some faces that I want to keep.
Wow. This is incredible because I have a feeling that I'm going to have wildly different opinions and takes than you on this, but we're going to go through it. We're going to see, and we have it set up here. So we're going to go through every single Real Madrid player. And there's 22. I mean, there was actually this squad in the summertime is much bigger. You have a bunch of Castilla players. You have a bunch of players you're not sure are going to be in the full team, A squad. Nico Paz, for example, he's no longer with us. And so it's changed a lot. So it's kind of good that we've timed it this way. Now we have a finalized roster that we're heading into the 2024-2025 season in. And we're thin at some positions, very stacked in other positions. And we're going to start, and don't break my heart, Angelo, but we're going to start with the man I named my first son after, Luka Modric. Where do you want to put him?
Luka Modric. Okay, let's be honest here. This guy is a legend. There's a reason why your son is named Lucas, right? This guy is a legend of the club. This is the last man standing from the CMK, Casemiro Modric Cruz. Isn't he like 39 years old already? He's almost 40, right?
That's correct, 39.
I think this season already was, in my opinion, given to him because Cruz left. I think this is his last season. I think we should sell. Even though he won't be sold. This is just his last year. But I think for the 25-26 season, he shouldn't be in the squad, man. I think already, as I said, this season was already given to him like a gift just because Cruz retired. I think he still has something, but I don't know, man. I don't see it just because of his lack of physical attributes that he used to have. He used to be a freak back in 2018, 17. I think he should be in the sell tier.
So Sal essentially let his contract expire.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think?
I would agree with it.
Right?
I would agree with it, and it kind of brings pain to my heart. Now, I will say, and I've said this before, that if there's anyone in Real Madrid history that deserves to be renewed for as long as he wants, it's him. Because of his character, because of his leadership, because of what he's given to the club. So, my question to you would be, let's say you're Florentino Perez. Luka Modric comes in. He brings his whole family. He brings his kids into the office.
Damn, bro.
He's brought you every single guilt trip with him. He says,
Damn.
Florentino, I was speaking with my kids. I've given so much to this club. I love this club more than anything in the world. My kids would want to see me renew just one more year. One more year, Florentino. What do you say?
I say, listen, man, Cristiano did the same thing. Ramos as well. I am not a guy that does favors for you. I bring the picture of him and David Beckham in a beach, and I say, listen, bro, Miami's calling for you. Miami's waiting for you. That's the truth. I wouldn't
Cold,
renew him.
cold-hearted bastard. We're gonna put Modric in the sell tier, but really what we mean is just his contract expires. I just want to make one more point about Modric. I do think, look, every single year that he ages, naturally and understandably, you lose a little bit more than the previous season. Look,
Yeah.
he looked good for Croatia in that last game. He hasn't looked great for Real Madrid so far this season. I have no doubt that he's going to have some great moments from now until the end of the season. And I would predict maybe he'll have a couple moments of magic in the springtime in the Champions League knockout stages. He has that in the tank. There
But
is,
let me be clear. I think he
yeah,
should retire in Real Madrid. If there's a player that deserves to like retire in the Real Madrid, I think it should be him. I just don't think he would because he still loves playing for the national team, and he wants to milk that to the very end. Which I think it's why he's gonna probably move to another club. But I wouldn't renew him.
I don't know what he would do in the situation that he doesn't stay with Real Madrid. And I don't know if he would go the Cruz route or he would go the Messi route. I don't see him going to Saudi. But I gotta say, like, as a overall football fan and as someone who enjoys Miami, I think that would be pretty cool to see him in Inter Miami with those
I
guys.
I think it would be Inter Miami's best player, to be honest.
No question. No question about that. All right, we have Modric in the sell tier. Next up, we got Jude Bellingham.
I mean, this is a no-brainer. We obviously loaned the guy back to Germany. Now let's put it in keep. I
Back to
think,
Birmingham City.
yeah, back now. Honestly, man, this is one of the no-brainers. We have a few no-brainers here. This guy is just world class. If he's, I mean, this guy could be a legend in Real Madrid. We already talked in last week saying that out of every single star player that we have, we believe Bellingham is the guy that's going to stay the longest.
Yeah.
I mean, and listen, bro, this he's just on top of Modric. You just see those two players in the tier list. We're just happy. I mean, Florentino did it again, bro. Look, we're gonna sell Modric and gonna keep Bellingham. That's just perfect.
No brainer. I don't know what else to say about this.
Yeah.
This is the quickest decision we've made on this podcast so far. Next up is Chouameni.
I think this one's interesting, bro. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Do you see in a world where Camavinga and Chouameni coexist in the same starting 11 for 5 to 8 years?
I don't know about the 5 to 8 years part. I mean, I don't if they can coexist for 1 year, why not? 5 to 8 years, what's the difference? So the question is really, can they coexist? And the answer is yes, definitely.
Would would you? No, sorry. Go ahead.
If you put Chouameni as the six and Kamavinga as the left CM, like we've actually seen that work really well because Kamavinga can drop and cover for Chouameni if Chouameni goes up the field. And what I really like about them being paired alongside each other is that Kamavinga is really great to move between the lines and provide himself as an outlet for Chouameni to hit. And it actually is good for a ball progression when those two are paired together. We've also seen them be paired in a double pivot at the French national team level, and that's also looked good. So the answer to that to me is yes.
I think though the thing there is basically if you do that, you're basically saying you're a team with four midfielders and you're gonna stay like that because you cannot have Shuameni, Camavinga in the same midfield and then choose between Valverde and Fede. That you probably basically saying that you are a four midfield team, and that's okay. We won the Champions League last year with four midfielders, but I don't know if that's going to happen with three attackers. It can't happen. So is Real Madrid building for a team with four midfielders, or is Real Madrid building for a team with three attackers? If let's say Liverpool next year, Arne Slot say, "Hey man, I need more midfielders, 100 million for Chouameni," will you sell him?
I mean, let me answer your question with another question. Wouldn't you say that the DM position is one of the positions in football where it's really really hard to find someone good, like great? It's not an abundant position like attacking midfield, you know, or someone who can dribble, someone who can break lines, but someone who can create, but someone who can stay at the base of the midfield, protect the box, and progress the ball. That's a rare commodity, and I don't know like who are you going to get to replace Chouameni that would be better than him, unless you're getting Rodri, which is probably not happening. And
I
Rodri is older too.
Rodri's holder. When we talked about that last week, I think
Yeah,
the best thing about Chouameni though is he already proved that his versatility, like he can play as a center back too. And
yeah.
we are short in that position. Even though he doesn't like it, he's good at it. It's just the same as Camavinga is very good at left back. So I think we should put him keep, but we should definitely put him um basically like before. So basically how tier lists work, bro, is that the one guy that's closest to the tier is basically like for example, if we put Chouameni next to Bellingham, but we put him to Bellingham's like left,
Yeah.
is basically that we want to keep Bellingham more than Chouameni. I don't know
Oh,
if you
I
get me.
see. Okay.
Yeah, I will keep.
So
Yeah,
like
I'll be
this.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we don't have this thing with Chouameni and Camavinga like we have it on top with Rodrigo, Vini, and Mbappe, but it's also a bit because we have two great DMs in my opinion in Camavinga and Chouameni. I think Camavinga is a great DM. I know you like him more as an interior, but he's a great DM too, bro.
So we both agree Chouameni keep.
Yeah.
Next up, we got one of my favorites, Arda Güler.
Oof.
Oh,
You got
I'm
any hot takes
disappointed at the
about
reaction. I don't know.
Guardiola?
I'm disappointed at the reaction.
No, man. To be honest, this guy, in my opinion, is Lamine Jamal's father. Have you seen the 403 guy? The
The
guy
what?
the 403 guy
No.
that he has an Instagram called Hustle Hard. He's apparently Lamine Jamal's real father. No, no, no. This is biological. Like this is the actual father of Lamine Jamal. This is the best left foot in La Liga. I think we should put him and keep. And to be honest, we should put him on top of Chouameni, like next to Bellingham. This guy is gonna be a legend. This guy is gonna break into the starting 11 this season,
100% agree. So
right?
it seemed like you were so hesitant at first when I presented this to you, but you're not. So keep 100%.
I think this guy is gonna bench Rodrigo.
It's possible.
I
And I
mean,
think you
listen,
just
you guys know I
foreshadowed.
love Rodrigo, right?
Yeah, what's going to happen when we inevitably disagree? What do we do? I guess we'll figure that out. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So what would you put Arda Güler here in the middle?
Yes, 100%, bro.
Okay, cool. Arda Güler keep. Next up, Andre Lunin, who just extended his Real Madrid contract and is going to stay for like 6 more years, but on the books anyway. I don't know what's going to happen if they decide to flip him eventually, but he's here. The
Do you
greatest
agree?
backup goalkeeper in world football right now. What are you going to do with
That's
him?
true. Do you agree with that extension?
Yes, because if he agrees to it, I think it was a no-brainer. The question for me was not like should we have him as a backup. It's more like would he actually agree to that, and he has. Quite frankly, like I'm not entirely sure why he did. I mean, I get it if you believe this is a good situation, but he would have started for most other clubs had he decided to leave. And the person in front of him is the best goalkeeper on earth. So I'm not sure why he would agree to it unless like he just thinks that he's going to get enough chances, the amount of games. Courtois, if he gets injured or if he just eventually gets older, then maybe Lunin can outlive him. I'm not sure, but it's an incredible luxury to have. I hope it works out for him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you can keep it, you keep him because he already proved that basically you can win the Champions League with him.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure if we play with him in the final, we would have won anyway.
Yeah.
So you can win the Champions League with him, and I don't know with how many backup goalkeepers can you say the same thing. If an offer comes for him of 30 million, I'll sell him. I think that's what happened. No offers came from him, and that's why they didn't sell him.
Do you think he's worth more than 30 million?
I don't think so, bro. Bro, he got benched in the Euros. You got to remember that. He played the first game and they got benched.
He had a poor Euros. Yeah, he did. But at the
So
club level, he was amazing.
it was amazing, but why no clubs came with an offer of 30 million? Because if there was a club that came with an offer like that, his agent is Jorge Mendes, I think. The this the crazy guy that sells
Yeah.
everyone.
I, I don't know. There's part of me that finds it hard to believe. I don't know if they're actually telling the truth. Did they really not have? Maybe the offers were there, but they just weren't. The clubs that were offering it weren't interesting enough for him to go to.
I think we should keep him, but yeah, listen, if it's keep or sell or loan, I will keep him, bro, because it's like you said, it's probably just the greatest backup to have.
Yeah, no question. So why don't we put him here?
Yeah, let's put him last.
Because he is, of all the players we're going to keep, I think he might be the one with the most. He's probably the most expendable because he's a complete luxury because we have
100%.
Thibaut Courtois.
He's 100% luxury.
Eduardo Camavinga.
Yeah, I think this guy is another keep. I think this guy
Yeah.
could also become a legend of the club. I would put him next to Bellingham. Like, if I have
Number
to sell
two.
one of Bellingham and Guler, sorry, if I have to sell one of Guler and Camavinga, I think I'd sell Guler, bro. Camavinga is just, I think he has a unique profile. How many profiles do we see in world football like Camavinga? A guy just that can literally do anything. A guy that's fast. I mean, you are the one that have this famous phrase of the Cobra tackle, right? Something like that. That he just has the greatest tackling ability of all time.
Yeah.
I will put he's up there, bro. He could be a legend. He already proved himself as a left back midfielder, and this guy can do everything. I will put him keep next to Bellingham.
No arguments there. 100% agree. I put him number 2. I agree that I would keep him over Goulet if I had to choose. I think Camavinga's ceiling is incredibly high. His versatility, the amount of positions he can cover at an elite level, that it's an incredibly he's a very rare commodity in world football. And he represents like modern football. Like he's the poster child, if you ask me, because he can do so many different things in this era of positionless football where you need everyone to do a bit of everything. And I mean, he hasn't necessarily had to, but this idea where Real Madrid, didn't sign a striker last season or didn't sign a center back this season. It's players like him that enable you to get away with, maybe lack of depth in certain areas because he can cover so much ground. So no brainer. Next up, we got Eder Militao.
Before moving to Eder Militao, I think there's something weird about Camavinga.
Okay.
It's the fact that I don't think he has. Do you think he's already 100% a starter in both club and national team? Because I don't think he has reached that yet, which is weird because he's been knocking that door since his first year. I remember his first game he scored, but he isn't like 100. It isn't Camavinga plus 10. It's not like that, nor in Madrid, nor French squad. So I don't know. When is he going to break that door and his actual Camavinga plus 10? Valverde is there already.
Valverde is ahead of him. I think Camavinga should be in that situation, but he's not yet with Carlo and the terrorist Didier Deschamps, unfortunately. But with Carlo, I think he was pretty much there. I think in Carlo's eyes, it really comes down to Camavinga and Rodrigo for that last spot. And Camavinga's been injured, so we don't really know. So maybe he might actually be there when he comes back. We'll find out. But he's pretty much there. But it's true that like last year, in almost all the big games, when everyone was healthy, Camavinga wasn't starting. And in games where there were injuries, and he did start in those big games, but it wasn't every big game. So he's not 100% there, but I think he's like 95% there.
I think it was there 22, 23. Remember, as a left back, he was basically him plus 10. He
Yeah,
started every big game as a left back.
yeah. I mean, and he was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, all right, Militao.
Listen, man, I had my doubts on him, how he was going to come back from that ACL, because, this guy's such a physical freak. And that ACL is a big hit.
Yeah.
But honestly, he's great, man. He has that 1 to 2 mistakes per game that could cost you the lead, cost you the game even. But still, the potential this guy has, I think, um, basically his physical attributes, you pair him with Rudiger, and there's no attacker that's faster than them. He literally could outrun Mbappe, Vinny. He could outrun anyone, and he has that long diagonal pass, which is insane. We've seen already a few of those passes. They're just great for a team that doesn't know how to build up yet. In my opinion, we don't have a great build up without Cruz. Um, we haven't shown that this season. So he's a keep. Even though he's a keep, I will put him just next to Chouameni, like in between Guler and Chouameni, because I mean, he's a keep, but we still put Bellingham, Guler, and Camavinga on top of him. No,
So you're saying here
no,
or
the
here?
other, yeah, right there.
Okay.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
that sounds about right. Uh, the other thing with him is that he's he's not older. He's like, I think he's like probably about to head into his peak. And again, he's a defender. We have like one other defender, and he's older. So
Yeah,
in terms of priority of keeping someone, he's pretty high up the list for me. I just want to co-sign that too. I'm blown away at how well him and Courtois have come back from their ACL injury. With
yeah.
Courtois, it was immediate. He was great. With Militao, it took time, but I mean, I'm happy with the progression. Like if you told me, if you had showed me footage from this season back last season when the ACL injury happened, I'd be like, okay, well that's great. That that's a very good recovery. So we keep Militao. Mbappe is next.
I mean, listen,
No
bro.
brainer.
We're talking about the Nets goat. We're talking about the man of the planet, bro. A guy that scored a hat trick in a World Cup final that almost killed Messi's dream. We have to put him in keep. Now the question is, who is who should be the first at keep? Bellingham or Mbappe?
Bellingham.
You think so?
Yes.
You think Bellingham is more important for Real Madrid than Kylian Mbappe?
Yes.
That's crazy, bro. I don't know, man, because we have a great midfield and we have a great attack, but Mbappe is just
But
insane.
but Bellingham is what makes it tick to me. He's what he's the guy who he's the head chef. If all these attacking pieces like Mbappe and Vinicius are the ingredients for the soup, Bellingham is the like entire pot. He's the one that stirs it. He's the one that links up the play. He's the one who's tracking back like a madman. He's the one who's willing to be the sacrificial lamb in terms of defensive work ethic, making sure this thing doesn't fall apart. He does so much, and I go back to this a lot. One of us. That matters to me, the one of us factor, because he's basically been with us since the beginning. And I think in terms of pure legacy, he's going to be, again, like you and I agree, he's going to be the one that outlives everyone. I think that really matters. That's why to me he's the guy. He's going to, by the time this whole thing is done, he's going to be number one on this list for me, Bellingham, out of everybody.
Who has a bigger Real Madrid legacy? Cristiano or Modric?
Cristiano.
Why?
Because he's the greatest player to ever play for the club.
All right. And I imagine that is because he scored an insane amount of goals in an insane amount of important matches, right?
Yes.
If Kylian does the same thing in 8 years, even though Bellingham outlives him for like 12 years, wouldn't that put Mbappe on top of Bellingham in
Yeah.
the legacy list?
If that were to happen, yeah. If Mbappe goes and scores 50 goals a season for the next 6, 7, 8 years, look, 50 is generous. Let's say some of those are 40. Like you get the odd 35 here and there because he's injured a few games. And he has the trophies to back that up. Sure, I'll change my mind.
Don't you think that's possible though? Don't you see it?
Yes, it's 100% possible. But in that scenario, I'm going to assume that Bellingham is a huge part of the reason why Mbappe has those goals. Plus, he'll share the same amount of trophies that Mbappe does. Plus, he'll have been here longer. Plus, I'm sure he himself will chip in with a bunch of goals himself. So it really depends. Look, here's where I will agree with you. I think the hardest thing to do in football is not defend. It's not to create. It's not to dribble. It's to literally put the ball in the back of the net. That's the hardest thing to do. That's why those guys get paid the most. Without those guys, you're not winning all those trophies. So those guys get paid the most for a reason. So if Mbappe does do that, yeah, I'll change my mind. And I'm not putting it past him. I think he's great enough. And I think, contrary to popular belief to a lot of people who think he's some kind of washed player, that he's no longer the same guy who scored a hat trick in the World Cup final, I don't even think he's hit his peak yet, to be quite frank. Like, I really don't think we've seen his peak yet. So I would not put it past Mbappe to do that. But there is a little bit of sentimental value attached to Jude too, because of what he's done in his debut season, when he joined us, how important his signature was, and how much he does on the field, and just the fact that he probably will outlive Mbappe at Real Madrid.
So
it's a good question, though.
I think so. I think Mbappe is great. I think we just have to see more of it. Let's have this conversation again by the end of the season and see what happens.
So we're gonna put Mbappe in the keep list. Do you want to put him number 2 then? Or,
Yeah,
again, I don't know
okay.
what to do in this scenario that we disagree, because there's only one screen.
Yeah, I'm okay with number 2, man. It's okay.
Right. Okay. Fede Valverde is next.
I mean, this guy is up there, bro. This is Real Madrid future captain, bro. This guy is up there. This guy is great. Honestly, I had a friend that went to the Bernabeu the other day to watch the Madrid versus Betis.
Yeah.
And in a pitch where you could see Vinny and Mbappe, Ballon d'Or level players, he told me that the best player was Valverde. Like, that guy is just another. I think this is his season is literally Valverde plus 10. And it's been like that for a few years already. When he got his starting spot in the 21-22 season as a right winger, he just hasn't been dropped. I think he's up there, bro. I think he's the third. He's just below Mbappe and Bellingham. This guy is probably, right now, the best midfielder in the world.
100% agree. I know. I feel like we were going to disagree more than we have already. I don't know why, but Fede is captain material. There's no question. He also, in terms of the best midfielder in the world, if he's not, he's in the very, very short list of like less than a handful of midfielders he'd be competing with. Captain material, future captain material. He already is captain material. He is probably here for me. What about you?
I think it depends, bro. Let's see. So if there's a 200 million euros offer, and the offer is basically set for 3 players, Bellingham, Mbappe, and Valverde, and you have to sell one, who would you sell out of those 3?
200 million offer, Bellingham, Mbappe, and Fede Valverde?
Yeah, you have to sell one just for the books to register new signings.
Fede.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Why does it hurt, though? It hurts saying that.
Because he's one of us. And
Mbappe
hurts. Isn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he is one of us now, but he doesn't have the same positive history with us that Fede Valverde does.
The struggle. We just haven't lived the struggle with Mbappe yet.
Yeah, Fede started from the bottom.
Literally, man. Yeah. Literally. I think we're doing great. I think there's still some players that we need to talk about that I know we're going to have these agreements. I can see them already.
Yeah, but I think we're getting to the harder ones now.
Yeah, we're getting to the harder ones now.
Yeah.
What about Endrick? What do you think?
I think we keep Endrick.
So no loans.
I wouldn't
for
loan
this
him.
17-year-old?
No, I wouldn't loan him because I think he is going to be important this season. And I think there's, if you, let's say if like we did this exercise before the season began and the window was open for him to be loaned and we actually do loan him to whatever team, whatever the team is, doesn't matter. But then there's going to be like situations this season where you're going to be like, shit, we shouldn't have loaned him out, man. We could have really used him today off the bench. He is the kind of guy who just comes off the bench and creates chaos. You're going to need that, man. You lost Joselu. So the tricky thing will be like to balance his development, get him enough minutes, and make sure he's in a position to succeed long term. Him staying, being around Vinny, being around Jude, being around Modric for maybe the last year he can be around Modric, being around Carvajal, Fede, all these leaders, I think is going to be better for his development and also the team's ability to win now. So I would keep.
I will keep him too, but honestly, if you think about it, I think like let's say the next 3 years, I'm pretty interested in it's to see how his career is gonna develop.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, there's no space out there for him to be a starter, especially in big nights. But at the same time, you see him, and every time he comes in, he's been better than Mbappe this season, in my opinion. He's been better
Come
than a lot of
on.
players.
Come on.
Bro, this guy, man, 2 touches in, 3 touches
That
in there.
happened one time.
Okay, that happened one time. It felt like it happened 3 times, bro. That
Yeah,
goal
I
with
know.
his right
That,
foot
but
was just
yeah.
crazy, right? Okay, so basically what I mean is he's 17, bro. Like, how does 21-year-old Endrick look like? Is he a world-class player, elite level player? How is he gonna fit in the starting 11? Because there's no space for him.
I don't know.
It's just curious to see what's gonna happen with him. Right now, I would keep him.
We don't have to worry about that now.
Bro, I would love to if just 28-year-old Will just comes and tell me, "Hey, bro, this is what happened with Endrick." I will pay for that actually. But right now, we should keep him. But to be honest, man, I'll put him below Arda Güler in my keep list.
That's not even debatable for me.
Right?
He's not ahead of any of these first 5 players. You
I'll put
could,
him there.
I mean, you could argue with the rest, but yeah, I'd put him highest. I would put him here, highest.
Do you think he will ever be a starter at Real Madrid? Let's say not ever. What about the next 2 to 3 years? Do you think he has a spot in the starting 11 with the players that we have now?
No,
Sad times.
but not everyone can be a starter. Like this can't be. Someone's got to sit, man. Like people get offended about this shit. Like someone has to sit.
That's the thing in Real Madrid, though, bro. We only sign good players. We only sign starter level players.
No, we need all of them. We need the Vasquez's. We need the Nachos. We need whoever. Like we need those people.
Do we need David Alaba?
Right now, we definitely do because we have no other defenders.
Listen, bro, I will sell that guy ASAP.
You're gonna sell him.
Yeah, I think, bro, let's go back to the 21-22 season. His first season, he was great, right?
Yeah.
He got injured a few times that season. He also got injured the next year, 22-23. He got an ACL last season. I think we should sell him. He's in. I think isn't he earning like a good amount because he was a free agent? So he's up there in the salary ranges. I think we should sell him. I think he's 30. I think we could look for younger center backs. I mean, I know
he's 32.
Joan, yeah, he's 32. I think we can't count on him. Not anymore. That ACL is, bro, that ACL is tough, man. It's not the same an ACL for a goalkeeper or an ACL for a 25-year-old center back. I mean, Van Dijk recovered, but Van Dijk is a freak. I don't know if this guy has it. Listen, I love Alaba, but if you can't count on a player for a whole season, then it gets tough. And if you could sell him and buy another young prospect, I think if we would have signed Lenny Yoro, I think the guy we're looking to sell, other than Nacho, it probably would have been Alaba. So I think I'd sell him. Obviously, does the club need him right now? Yes, but he can't even play because you can't count on him for a whole season.
There's a few challenges with that. One is if you sell him now, his value is probably the lowest it's ever been, you know, for like over a decade. Because of his age and because of the ACL situation, which by the way, that like the date of his return got pushed. Like he wasn't supposed to be out for this long, and
Yeah,
it just kept getting pushed. He might not be back till 2025.
that's crazy.
So if you what's your the you just have you right now you're so short on defenders, so you have to have these players ready to go when they come. Like, so you have to have your defenders in place and purchase before you sell him, or at least have some kind of plan. Because right now you're screwed. The other problem is that his contract runs until 2026. So he's going to be a little bit more difficult to move for that reason, unless Saudi comes knocking.
And they probably will because he's a good player and he has that Saudi aura. Let's be honest, man. He has that
What
Saudi
is
aura.
that? I feel like that's disrespectful. What does that mean? He's
He
money
just has
hungry.
the vibe, bro. Not money hungry. He just has the vibes, bro. He's like a Depay type of player. If you look at his Instagram, he has a Saudi aura. I think he will love a Saudi trip. I mean, let's be honest, man. You and me will love a Saudi trip, wouldn't we?
No, I'm team Tony Cruz. Actually, I'll come visit. I'll come visit you. I'll come visit you.
I'm not in Saudi, bro. It's okay. I will
Um,
sell him. I will sell Alaba. Because I think if we don't sell him, it's gonna be one of those cases that we just don't renew him and he goes out for free. So might as well sell him, in my opinion. I don't think we renew Alaba unless he has a crazy season, a crazy end of the season, this season, I mean. And I don't think that's happening. I don't think he's a starter.
he's not a starter. Uh, not right now at this stage of his career, ahead of Rudiger and Militao. What if he comes back in January and he is great and he helps with the ball progression? Like we could really use his ball progression skills without Tony Cruz.
I get it, but that's not happening because he's not a starter. And what's probably going to happen is he's going to come back, he's going to play a few games, and they get injured again. Just like Fran Mendy, honestly, to be honest. So I think we should sell him. What about okay, where would you want to put him? Sell, keep, loan?
I keep him. I keep him as squad depth.
Right, but I think you keep him because you need him. Imagine for the Nets market, we go for a center back, and now we have five center backs. We have Militao, Rudiger, Alaba, Joan, and a new toy, a new center back. Who do you sell out of those five? You can't sell the new guy. We sell Rudiger? No. We sell Militao? No. We sell Joan? Or we sell Alaba? I think he is right now out of the center backs the least expensive, as you said. Keepable or no? The most sellable guy. He has the guy that with the price tag on. I think I should sell him.
I mean,
I would sell him.
Militao would have the most value, I think.
Right, I get
But
it.
but we're not selling him.
We're not selling him. I think we should go for center back next transfer window and sell Alaba. That's what I think we should do.
But the other thing I would say to that is that even if you sign another center back, I think you still need Alaba. You still need. It might still be too early for Jean Martinez. I mean, he's coming off his own ACL tear. He needs minutes. He might fall into the loan category. Actually, I don't know, but he's not even in this list to discuss him. But what I would actually do is I would keep Alaba, and look, we'll put him in the sell list if you want. My proposal would be to keep Alaba and sign a center back, and then those are your four for next year.
I think that would be the dream, but I don't think we can count on him, bro. What if he gets injured again? Then we only have three center backs.
Could say the same thing about Courtois and Militao and Van Dijk.
No, you can't. You really can't, because they came back and they're there, and Militao usually never got injured. Same with Courtois. This guy before the ACL was injured a lot, even in Bayern. But hey, man, we should put it. We could put it in keep, but let's put it in the back.
After Lunin?
Nah, not after Luna. That would be disrespect to the Saudi guy. But yeah,
Right here.
after Schwameni. Yeah, I think that's good.
Damn, bro, we got to trim the squad. No one's leaving yet.
Oh,
All
believe
right,
me, man.
here we got Furlan Mendy
Someone's
next.
leaving.
By the
To
way,
be honest, yeah,
just a thing.
yeah.
I think we can do like we can alternate. Like, so you wanted to sell Alaba, I wanted to keep him. We put him in the keep section. Next one we disagree on, we'll put it in wherever you want. That's
Oh,
fair.
I can see the guy we're gonna disagree on. He's coming. He's coming. Let's go for Mendy first. I think for Mendy, we should keep him, but I don't think he should be the starter. There's another left back in this list that I think should be far away from Valdebebas, but Mendy is not that guy. I will keep Mendy just because of his profile. Right?
Yeah.
There's a few profiles like him, and in Europe right now. There's how many defensive left backs do we see? I don't know. We don't see many, so I will keep him. But I think Real Madrid should go for a starting left back. Would that be our friend Alfonso Davies? Hopefully. But out of the two left backs we have at the moment, I think Mendy is the keep guy.
100% agree on keeping Mendy. He is, I mean, his track record speaks for itself. He's locked down some of the best swingers in the world. He's helped us win titles. He stepped up in big games. There is no one as good as him on a defensive level at the fullback position in the world right now. Furlan Mendy keep here.
Yeah.
Right. Or sorry, right here. What do you think?
Right
Yeah.
there.
All
yeah.
right. Next up, your best friend Rodrigo Gosh.
This is my guy, man. A guy that I've been rooting for. I love this guy since 2018. I'm obviously lying. I didn't know the guy in 2018. Listen, if we can keep Rodrigo forever and ever and have him as a bench guy, that would be great. But if an offer comes of 100 million, I will sell him. I think to keep the harmony in the squad, to keep the roles tight, so everyone knows their role. I'm the Ballon d'Or guy. I'm the guy that scores. I'm the midfielder. I think we should sell Rodrigo. I don't think it's sustainable, man. We cannot have Rodrigo, Mbappe, Bellingham, and Vinny in the same squad. And if one is leaving, it's obviously Rodrigo. In fact, just because of Arda Güler, it's profiles. Okay, let's talk about profiles. Don't we have already profiles like Rodrigo? Because we already have the left, the right, how do you say it? The right foot guy that cuts from the left. We already have that in Vinny and Mbappe. And we already had that 10 in Bellingham and Güler. And we already have that width from the right in Güler. You can even put Valverde there. You can put even Endrick there. I think we should sell Rodrigo. And knowing that we could have a lot of money for Rodrigo. We could have 100, 150. And I don't think this guy is a great squad player. I think it was cooking. This was cooking from a long time ago. It was no way this guy was getting better every year and not demand for a starting role and starting, to feel like he's the guy. He feels like he's the man. He will never be the man in Real Madrid. He could be the man somewhere else. I will sell him.
All right. I've thought about this a lot. I've heard what you've said. I've been hearing your arguments. I think the reality is, out of these 6 attacking players that we have, Endrick, Rodrigo, Vinicius, Brahim, Goulet, Bellingham. That's 6. You can't keep all of them. Out of those 6, 4 of them are staying. Endrick is staying because we just signed him. Vinicius is staying because he's Vinicius. Mbappe is staying because he's Mbappe. Bellingham is staying because he's Bellingham. That leaves Brahim and Rodrigo. And
Güler.
And sorry, Goulet is staying because we just signed him and like he's not going anywhere. And he's great. Timing really matters. Timing and value, those 2 things really matter when you're deciding who can stay, who can go. Endrick has not yet established himself and doesn't have the leverage to be like, hey, you play me or I'm leaving. Goulet is similar to Goulet. He's starting to prove himself, and he's going to get there. And he's not going to be sold, and he's not going to start demanding for things right now. Rodrigo is now at that level where I think by next summer he'll be like, I value myself very highly. I believe in myself. I want to go somewhere and be a consistent starter. I think it'll come down to Rodrigo and Brahim. And at that point, I think it'll be we're going to keep the one who's going to be more content with fighting for their position. And the other one will leave. And Rodrigo does have the highest value out of those two. So for that reason, I think it's realistic that it could be Rodrigo who leaves and not Brahim. But it's going to come down to those two. One of those two players we're not going to keep. I'm pretty sure about it.
I think it's a no-brainer, and I would even advise him to leave because he needs to develop in his favorite position, and he will never do that in Real Madrid, and he will never do that in Brazil. So might as well just go to a club where you can play in your favorite position, where you can cement yourself as one of the best players in the world and get nominated for the top 30 Ballon d'Or. He should have been already. He
Should have
wasn't.
been.
He posted an Instagram story like he always does. Go to City. Go to Arsenal. There's club. He will start in every single club bar Real Madrid and City probably. I think he will even start in Manchester City actually. He's a starter in every single club. He's the best player in Brazil. In the national team, he's better than Vinicius. He basically is the guy for the national team. And he will never play in the left in the national team either because he has Vinicius there. So might as well go to another club. He will earn more in another club because he's not earning that much in Real Madrid. He will play in his favorite position. And if an offer comes from Brahim or for him, I know Brahim is going to be happy with the bench role.
I think he starts over. I think he starts for City, but it would. I don't really know how it would work necessarily because they have Foden. I like he. I would definitely start him over Doku. I would definitely start him over Savinho.
I think it's a profile thing, bro. Don't we have already the Rodrigo profile in the squad?
Yeah. Yes. That's why I struggle with it, Will, because if you're talking about like who is better, like Rodrigo is an amazing player, but if you're also talking about like which profile do we already have the most of, it's him. Like we already have the better versions of him in Vinny and Mbappe.
Yep.
And I think that's the challenge. That'll be his challenge, and that challenge will never go away. I think I mentioned this to you. If Mbappe and Vinny are here for 5, 8, 10 years, this is not just a problem for this year. It's going to be a problem he's going to be facing forever.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to how much he wants to stay and be okay with this role. With quite frankly, bro, if he just decided he was going to stay and fight, do you know how much he's going to play? He's going to play a lot still. Man, we get so many injuries. We got so many you just play a lot regardless. This is kind of like, it reminds me of Guti in that Guti was always like, is he a starter? Is he off the bench? He's kind of both. Didn't matter because even if he was on the bench, he was playing constantly because the club always needed him because so that if he decided to stay, I think he would play a lot anyway. He doesn't need to necessarily get caught up in like, oh, I'm not going to start over Vinny or Mbappe. He's going to play so much. And even if he doesn't start, he's going to come off the bench a million times too. So it's up to him. But look, I think between him and Brahim, one of them's going to leave. You want to put him in the sell category?
Yeah, I think we should put it in the sell category.
All right. I don't endorse this.
Oh,
This is Angelo's decision.
Oh, perfect, man.
All right. Next up, Vinicius.
I mean, this is a no-brainer. I think we should quick fire the rest. He's obviously a keep. I will put him even the first guy in the list. He is a Real Madrid guy. Yeah, I think so. He is Real Madrid guy. I think he was tempted by Saudi. I think that's why Real Madrid haven't sold Rodrigo yet. They want to see what's going to happen with Vinny. I think he's staying though. I think he's a great guy. He has his problems outside of the field, but on the field, he's unplayable. Basically, he's the best player in the Champions League for the last few years. Obviously, a keep.
100% agree. I'm okay with putting him number 1 too. To me, Bellingham and Vinny are 1 and 2. I won't put up much of a fight, regardless of where these guys are positioned. As long as they're 1 and 2, Mbappe at 3, I'm fine with, and the rest, like we've discussed. But yeah, Vinny is. I had a whole thing about this the other day. Like, Vinny is one of us, and he will be one of us. And Matt and I were, I don't know if you listened to it, Matt and I were actually discussing, like, where does he rank in Real Madrid history among wingers? And he turned out like much higher than I realized.
Yeah, is he up there?
He's up there. He's up there. And he may be, like, by the time he retires, and it's a long way away, he could be like just behind Cristiano.
I mean, his 2 goals into Champions League finals, carrying Real Madrid's team in Champions League the last 2 years. Yeah, he's up there.
Fran Garcia is next.
Yeah, I think we should sell this guy, man. Let's be honest.
So your plan is to bring in Alfonso and
yeah,
get rid of Fran?
Yeah, right. We've seen enough already. He is in Real Madrid level. He is in a Real Madrid level guy. He was very promising back in Rayo Vallecano, but he's not at the level of the guys. If you've ever had the privilege watching Real Madrid live, their training, their games, there's a big difference between Fran Garcia and the rest. Let's be honest. When I saw them live, I was like, oh my God, it's just a massive difference between him and Rodrigo, who's the guy next to him. I don't think he's a Real Madrid level player.
So we also talking about like positions of abundance and positions of scarcity. We do still have the rights to Miguel Gutierrez. And we also have potentially the option of getting Alphonso Davies on a free in the summertime. I actually have liked Fran Garcia so far this season for what it's worth. Transition defenses look good. He's been providing good overloads. I'm okay with putting him in the sell list. If you get Alphonso Davies in the summertime. Jesus Vallejo.
Yeah, we should have just created a different tier for him. Rip the contract. I think there's two.
This is the rip the contract tier?
Yeah, this is the rip the contract tier, man. He goes in there. I obviously put him in sell. I think there's another player that we haven't talked about that goes in that same rip the contract tier. We'll get to him. But yeah, this is also another player that's just not Real Madrid level. If you compare them to Fran Garcia and Vallejo with the other two we have in the same tier, Rodrigo and Modric, they're just on a different level. I don't think they won't ever start for Real Madrid. Yeah, just sell them. Sell Vallejo.
Bro, back in 2017, I wrote an article, and it was about the future, the next generation. And it was about Jesus Vallejo, Dani Ceballos, Marcos Llorente, Alvaro Odriozola. I don't forget who else was in that list. But none of them really turned out. Damn. Marcos Llorente is having a good career for Atletico. Odriozola was a bust. Vallejo was a bust. Ceballos, I'm going to assume, is the next guy who you're going to say ripped the contract. But definitely wasn't what we thought he was going to be. Things in football don't work out the way you think they are, man.
I guess out of us two, who's the villain? You choose, man. Who's the villain, guys?
It's still you.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go to the GOAT right back. Let's go to Carvajal.
Dani Carvajal?
Obvious keep, man. Let's do an obvious keep. Even if he doesn't start, let's say we sign the beautiful Trent Alexander-Arnold next year. Even if he doesn't start, I will keep him until he wants. He's just a GOAT. He can retire with the most titles ever in Real Madrid history. He's a GOAT, bro. His attitude is just goated. I will keep him.
Greatest right back in Real Madrid history. Greatest right back in Champions League history. Probably the most underrated right back in the history of football if you consider everyone's opinions globally. Maybe because of his age, you put him maybe somewhere here. What do you think? Like here?
Yeah, I think that's
just only because of his age.
Yeah, that seems right.
Yeah. Thibaut Courtois.
Yeah, another no-brainer. Let's keep the guy. Another goated keeper. Honestly, man, clap to Florentino that trusted him, that believed in him back in 2018. He had a horrible first season, then became the best goalkeeper in the world. He had a break last season. He gave Dibu the spotlight. Now he's back. Yeah, this guy's goated. I will put him up there next to Valverde or something like that. Even even next to Mbappe.
Really?
Bro,
I mean, I would too. Oh, but only it's funny because we put Lunin all the way at the end. Because of Lunin, I would be like, okay, if worse comes worse and a Saudi club offers 200 million for Courtois, I'd be like, okay, well we have Lunin, so you know.
that's crazy.
Um, you don't agree?
No, bro.
Hold on.
This
If a
guy is
Saudi club
golden.
just offered 200 million for Courtois right now, and you have Lunin until 2030, you would say no?
Yeah, I will tell Rodrigo, not Courtois.
No, but the offers for Courtois, they want Courtois.
I'll basically,
You would try to
yeah,
convince them to take Rodrigo instead?
yeah, or Mr. David Alaba because he has the aura.
All right, we'll put them here for you. We'll put him here for you, okay?
Yeah,
Uh,
let's go.
I just one more point about Courtois. His redemption arc, incredible. When we signed him initially, he was one of the only players I could think of that was universally hated. Chelsea fans hated him. Atletico fans hated him, and Real Madrid fans hated him. Then he turned into the best goalkeeper in the world, totally redeemed himself. And then he came back from this ACL injury. There was a lot of people like, this is unfair to Lunin. Lunin should be starting the Champions League final. And what did Courtois do? Just return as if he was still the best goalkeeper in the world and put all the doubters. They silenced the doubters. All right, Lucas Vazquez is next.
I'm torn here, man, because I think he's a great squad guy. I think his attitude, everyone loves him in the squad. I think he's a keep. But, if a 30 to 40 million offer came from him, I would sell him. But he's one of those squad players that you need. One of the things you were saying earlier is you need those type of players, and he's there. So, what do you think?
He has done everything he can possibly do to stay at Real Madrid. He changed his position. He was a right winger.
He scored some important goals, I remember.
And played a lot of minutes. Like for Zidane, there were games he started over Bale.
Yep.
We ended up getting a bunch of attacking midfielders. We lacked right backs. He's like, no problem. Whatever you need. I'll reinvent myself. It's not going to be easy. I'll do it. Could argue that if you needed to score in the 90th minute of a Champions League final and there's a penalty, you could argue. Could make the argument. I'm just saying that it's him that steps up.
I think this guy also made a comeback, bro. There was a time that this was probably the most hated Real Madrid player ever. I remember back in 1920.
I just don't know.
I remember back in 1920, there were some games he started as a right winger. I almost had a heart attack, bro. I was like, I can't watch a game where this guy is coming before Bale or before James Rodriguez. Or
He
before
did get a
Isco.
lot of hate. He did for
He
sure.
was
I
one
can
of the
remember
most
that.
hated players, bro. I remember that. Like every time he came on the pitch, I was like, no freaking way. No freaking way. Why is this guy coming on the? I remember Zidane used to love this guy, but I think he became a soldier. He's a soldier. You gotta have it. He's a soldier.
He got a lot of hate, and if anyone wants to argue with me and say no, everyone loved him, don't make shit up, I have all the receipts. Our podcast correspondence, the fan mail was like, we need to get this guy out. He was hated.
Yeah.
You're right. I think, he's in the keep list for me. But if you told me, hey, we have this opportunity to bring in TAA next summer,
Yeah.
would you sell him to make room? My answer to that would be yes.
Yeah, get out.
So you want to put him in sell?
Sure, man.
The thing is, but the thing is, our keep sell thing is also contingent on getting certain players. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So I just made up a wild hypothetical. That's not true. So I kind of actually do want to put him in keep.
Yeah, but in the back.
After Lunin or before?
Nah, I will put him before Alaba even.
Here. Yeah, that's right to me. Yeah, that's where I was going to put him. All right, Dani Ceballos.
Yeah, bro, let's rip this guy's contract, man. I will never forgive you for saying this guy was going to be, he was going to be the how you call it, the unsung hero or something like that? This guy was going to be Real Madrid.
Unsung hero.
Yeah, something like that.
Was
I
that in the
remember
round
pod,
table,
man.
I think?
Yeah, I remember that shit. And guess what? He isn't an unsung hero. He's an unsung villain, actually. I will put himself right next to Vallejo. This guy is horrible.
I'm gonna. I still have some stock on Danny Ceballos Island.
No way, man.
The
You're a
stock
bad
is low, but
investor.
I think if I hold on to the stock, it's gonna pay off later.
I don't think so, to be honest, bro. I really don't think so.
Where do you want to put him? Here?
Yeah, I'll put in next to Fran. Basically next to Vallejo. In between Fran and Vallejo.
All right.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have. There's gonna be book it right now. There's gonna be at least 2 games this season where he's going to change the game off the bench.
Oh, yeah, against Ibiza and against Alarcon. Yeah, sure. Let him change the game,
No.
bro.
I'm saying, I'm thinking more like against uh against Atletico and against someone in the Champions League.
Yeah, we're going to be crazy in this last few minutes of the
Okay.
video.
2 players left: Brahim Diaz and Antonio Rudiger. We're going to start with Brahim.
Yeah, I think we have 2 keeps here. I think obvious keeps. I think Brahim is a great player, and I think he's happy with his role. He's happy to be a Real Madrid player. He's happy to come in when the team needs him, and he's delivered. He basically became the Rodrigo and Asensio, the Asensio of 2018 and the Rodrigo of 2022. He's a great player to have off the bench. I'll put him in the keep tier.
Speaking of unsung heroes, I feel like Brahim is one of the most unsung players of the last 2 years for us.
Yep.
Sorry, this is the second season, so it's not quite 2 years, but let's say the last like 12 months or so. He had, I mean, I don't even know if it's debatable. It might be slightly debatable. I'd have to revisit it, but I think he actually was more informed than Rodrigo all of last season. Rodrigo came good in spurts. Brahim was more consistent from start to finish. And he just does he can do so much off the bench. So I'm gonna and we have to keep him because we put Rodrigo in the sell bracket in this exercise. So we got to keep Brahim for that reason as well. Right? I'm gonna put him here or here. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's fair next to Chouameni, actually.
Let's go here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And
Last
Rudiger as
one.
well, man. Yeah, he's probably last season he was probably the best center back in the world. This guy is great. Scored a penalty against City, locked Haaland. This guy is great, man. Remember how bad he started the 22-23 season?
It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't as good as we hoped it would be.
He's great, bro. I will put him keep and I'll put him up there, bro. I'd even put him on top of Endrick, to be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's somewhere in this range.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't put him above Carvajal, but I'd put him above Militao.
He's great, bro. Honestly,
I think he's gonna
really
age
good.
well too. So even though he's older, I think he's gonna age well.
Yeah, he's great to have. He's our Pepe region.
So we didn't loan a single player.
Listen, if we had to loan one of the players we have here, it'd probably be Lunin, right?
I think you could make the case for Lunin, and you could
Endrick,
make
maybe.
you could make a case for Endrick. You could make a case for. You could even make a case for Fran Garcia.
Yeah, I guess, but not really a lot of loans. Like this
No.
is either we keep or we sell them.
Yeah.
If we go to the Castilla players like Mario Martin, even Joan, those could fall into the loan tier, but not. I don't think any of the ones that we have should be or could be loaned.
Now that we're done the exercise, can I tell you what I would have done if you weren't here? If I was just doing it by myself?
If this was your tier list, what you would have changed?
I'll show you right now. We keep everyone. Everybody's happy. We don't tell Vallejo to go back and to his family and tell him he's a failed defender. We pat everyone on the back.
Yeah, man, you're too nice. This is what
I
happens
am
after
too
the
nice.
hate.
That's literally one of my weaknesses. I'm too nice. Yeah, look, all these players here will not be here next season. And I think if we had to guess, probably the way we have it mapped out, apart from Rodrigo, which I'm not sure of, but in terms of Vallejo, Ceballos, Fran, and Modric, those are the most realistic departures, if you ask me.
Yeah,
So I think we got most of it right. The one question mark would be what happens to Rodrigo.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Endrick, to be honest. I'm interested. I think those are the two big.
Endrick's going to stay. Yeah.
I think he's staying, but I'm just wondering, like, what is his role gonna be? I think those are the two, like, two players with question mark on top of them. I'm interested to see what's gonna happen at the end of the season.
We'll see. Will, this is something different. This is why you're here. You bring some very good perspectives to the podcast. So I hope everyone enjoyed the exercise. We got a lot. There's a lot more being cooked up our sleeves behind the scenes. So stay tuned for more. Guys, also wanted to remind you that if you join as a member, so if you go to patreon.com/managing Madrid, or if you don't have Patreon in your country, you go to the memberships tab on YouTube. This is what you'll see. A little behind the scenes. Matt and I did a podcast last night. Why is Vinicius struggling with Brazil? And you can just look here. There's so much content behind the scenes for members that you just don't get if you're not a member. So congratulations to all the members. You guys are awesome. I look forward to seeing you new members on the inside when you sign up. Angelo, this was a lot of fun. Mr. Factuous in the house. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.